Hey, welcome back to Pretty Girl Podcast. I'm so sorry this episode is one day late. I was dealing with a nasty breast infection, but I'm feeling much better today. Nursing problems, am I right? And just a quick rant about that. Breastfeeding can be so damn confusing sometimes. Like, you're supposed to make sure you've emptied the breast, but what if your babe hasn't emptied the breast, right? Well, then you need to pump. But you don't want to pump too often because then your supply will be way too much. And then you're at a higher risk for mastitis. And it's like this cycle that I can get stuck in at times. And it's also like, how the hell do you ever wean from breastfeeding? And also, how the hell do you ever get to sleep through the night? Because you're risking that you might get mastitis, right? Do I just breastfeed until the end of time? I guess so, because God forbid I don't empty my breast because then I'm going to get mastitis. I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg of things that new moms have to think about. And I sit back and I'm just like, yeah, no wonder we're all going insane. Just kidding, but seriously. So, hi. Yeah, welcome to my podcast. I'm Ashley Kelly Purdy, new mom, military spouse, runner, goal chaser. A lot of why I started this podcast was to talk about the military spouse stuff, but to also touch on goal setting and striving to live your best life. That's what I constantly am trying to chase, and not in an I'm never good enough kind of way, but in a way that when I put my head on my pillow at night, I know I'm trying to do my best. I know I'm not living a life of complacency. I know that I control my life. Alcohol doesn't control me. Debt doesn't control me. Food doesn't control me. You get it. The government doesn't control me. Oh, wait. I mean, if you're a military spouse, the government controls your life and F's with your plans and it screws with you, tells you to wear a mask. Just kidding. Don't come after me, okay? I am not anti mask. I am not anti mask. Damn, people get really up in arms about the mask thing, though. Like, who would have thought masks would be the thing that divides us as a country? Even saying this right now, I'm kind of like a little nervous. Someone's going to come at me in my DMs. How could you even discuss masks? Like, what world are we living in? It's crazy. Okay, let's move on. I was listening to an interview with Jordan Peterson and Matthew McConaughey yesterday. And first of all, it's great. I suggest that you listen to it. I just looked it up on YouTube. And while you're at it, get Green Lights, Matthew McConaughey's new book. I listened to it. I finished it in a day. It's so good. And anyhow, that's what they were discussing during this interview. And there were many great little nuggets out of that interview, but there's one thing I can't stop thinking about. Well, a couple of things actually. So, Matthew McConaughey is talking about living his life as an actor and being a dad, and he discusses this moment that he had in New York where he's prepping for some movie or something, and there's, the makeup artists and the hair and whatnot. And he's talking to a makeup artist, and he tells her how obsessed his son is with fire trucks. And she says, "Oh, my husband is a firefighter here. We could arrange for you and your son to see a fire truck if you want." And he talks about how that would be an awesome experience for his son, but also that B, there would be paparazzi there and he would rather avoid that situation, right? So obviously, that's not something I, as a normal everyday person, can totally comprehend, like with the paparazzi and whatnot. But I can sort of see and empathize how paparazzi could be annoying and something I would want to avoid, especially with my kids, right? Like I can kind of empathize with that. So then he says, "You know what? That check's been cashed. There will be paparazzi all the time. I want to do this for my son." And then he goes on to talk about how he lives his life even though he's followed by the paparazzi. And I don't know. I guess I like that mentality of checks been cashed. It just goes to show that he focuses on the things that he can control, right? Like he's famous. There's going to be paparazzi. And I like that he didn't avoid that moment with his son. He still has to figure out how to be a dad and how to have a family. There are many things I feel like that I could apply the mentality of, you know what, that check's been cashed. Gotta figure out a way. Being a mom, for example, that check has been cashed. I am a mom. I have a huge responsibility and an obligation to this little human, and I can choose to make it as enjoyable as possible or as miserable as possible. I choose the former. How can I make being a mom enjoyable? Because, as a lot of us know, it can get miserable fast. I think a lot of it is mindset, but I think a lot of it is strategy too, having certain things in place to make your life a little easier. For example, I knew that if I wanted to enjoy being a mom, I thought about this prior, even before being pregnant, probably. But I knew that if I wanted to enjoy being a mom, I need two things: sleep and exercise. Not everybody's like this. This is just how I roll. I know myself well enough that if I have those two things, I will be more patient. I will be less anxious, not to mention possibly, hopefully, avoid postpartum depression. Any new mom knows, though, that most times sleep and exercise are hard to come by. So I'll just tell you the biggest way I strategized getting in exercise after baby was to, one, keep it as a habit during pregnancy. I worked out every day, and that's honestly not to brag, like how annoying, right? Oh, I worked out every day. How annoying. But honestly, that's how important it was to me. And it's gnarly working out when you're pregnant because you're sweating every day, but you're just getting bigger and bigger, and it's crazy. Like, it's just such a mind F. And that was a huge lesson in and of itself for me, because it was just like, hi, Ash, reminder, you're doing this for your mental health. Like, and physical health, of course, but mostly mental. And also the postpartum workout. Like, it all just made sense that if I wanted to keep this habit, I needed to work out every day. And I did. It was just moving, getting outside. It wasn't like some crazy CrossFit crap, right? Like, I was just like, no, I want to keep this habit. And I did. And I'm so grateful for that. All right. So let's talk sleep. Sleep after baby and that whole journey was really intimidating to me, if I'm being honest. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And that's honestly why I bought the snoo, or I should say rented. It gave me a lot of peace of mind, honestly. Um, but you know what? We're sending it back in a few weeks. I'm kind of like nervous about it, but I think it's going to be okay. That being said, having a smart bassinet like that one gave me a lot of confidence. And who knows, right? Who knows if she would have been a great sleeper without it? I'll never know. All I know is I'm glad I had it. Like I said, it gave me a lot of confidence as a new mom, and it's helped us really build a good sleep foundation. I feel like this Rubik's Cube game of sleep is not for the faint of heart, especially when you throw a vacation in the mix and you just throw everything off. But hey, I'm doing it. Moms before me have done it. We can do this. I knew if baby girl could sleep while I train, while I exercise, for example, I could keep working out. I needed to make that habit. I knew if baby could sleep through the night, I would get my sleep. Therefore, I would be able to work out. So those two things go hand in hand for me. I knew if baby could get good quality sleep, she'd be more pleasant. And it wouldn't be as much of a struggle to leave her with my husband. Not to mention, good quality sleep is like so good for their development, blah, blah, blah. I did most of my research on sleep before I had Iz, and I'm still doing my research and learning. But it really is such a game changer when it comes to that first year and enjoying it as a new mom. Like, I follow Taking Care of Babies, and there are all of these reviews that these women leave after taking one of her courses, and they say things like, I finally enjoy being a mom, like, because they're getting sleep. Like, it's massive. Anyway, if she wasn't sleeping through the night, I would take one of her courses, hands down, for sure. I would figure that out so fast. So, anyhow, that's my 2 cents on that. And I know it can be annoying hearing people's opinions on mom stuff, but I guess there are things I would have liked to know before getting into the trenches of motherhood. So, I just thought I would share that with you guys. The other thing I liked about Matthew McConaughey and his book, going back to that, and the interview, is he is such an optimist. And lately, I don't know why, but like I have felt maybe a little self-conscious about my own optimism. I know that sounds weird, but I just worry that it like comes off as Pollyanna or toxic positivity. And he says something similar to JP, that he had a similar concern. And Jordan Peterson, we call him JP around our house. Like my husband loves Jordan Peterson, really admires him, and we just call him JP. So JP, act like we're friends. He says that it's a superpower to be optimistic as long as you're not naive. And I really liked that. And maybe there's such thing as realistic optimism. Like that's what I hope to have, or cautious optimism. I never want to be naive, and I or not like understand what's going on around me, but I naturally am optimistic. And if you are too, just know that it's okay and to not dim it. The world could use a little more optimism, I think. Anyway, those are just some of my thoughts, and I wanted to share them with you guys today. Thanks for listening. I hope y'all are having the greatest year so far. You're crushing your 2021 goals. Keep your head up, keep moving forward. This is going to be our best year yet, okay? If you're feeling a little low today, low energy, just know that you can always start your day over. Start the day over. Pour yourself a cup of coffee. Pour yourself a glass of water, whatever your drink of choice is. Glass of tequila. No, I'm just kidding. Decide that you're going to start over the day, okay? Go for a walk. Get outside. Get some fresh air. Call a friend. Take a bath. Be the badass you know that you are today, okay? I love you guys, and I will talk to you next week. Thank you for listening to Purdy Girl Podcast. If you have a second, please rate and review and share this podcast with somebody you think would love it. See you next week.